This is about how to scan CDs and to get a nice consistent image. Whenever you have an unprinted area right here on the disc, it gives you that very reflective prismatic effect. And so when the scanner moves across this, you get like an inconsistent lighting effect where some of it'll be bright, but then some of it'll be dark. It's usually like a north, south, east, west variant. And so if you just scan this regularly, all the printed stuff looks really nice, but this part back here, the reflective part, is just very problematic and takes away from the overall look. So we'll scan this just normally to get a nice baseline. The first scan, as I said, it looks really good. The colors are all very clear, very detailed. But this is the problem right here. It's this reflective part. And so what you're not, it kind of looks muddy there, but as you go down, you see how it turns to like a black here in the middle, and off to the side, it gets very dark. And especially right here, you can see the transition of it going from light to dark, and you'll get it on the other side as well. Um, you can see here it's light, but as it goes down to here, it gets dark. And so this is just the part that's inevitable on a shiny surface when you scan. So let's move on to another method. Now, the first solution that I came across for scanning was these diffuser sheets, these gel sheets. And this one in particular is it's called a Roscoe 3028 quarter diffuser. And so this works well. It definitely gets rid of the irregular lighting, but it adds a lot of noise to the image. And so I wasn't very happy with that. And so we'll scan that just so you get a refresher of what that looks like. Now we'll look at scanning with the diffuser sheets. So you can see let's see here, let me level it out, make it straight. I'm just going to use that flame of Rekka. It looks pretty good. Okay. So here we go. So here's the baseline. This is with nothing going on, or no aids in trying to fix the lighting. So you can see the reflective part is you got the kind of this muddy water look and color, but then down here it's dark, and it's the same here. When you switch over, you see it's now consistent. This part here, and then this is pretty good. And here you actually have some tone definition. But the problem with the diffuser is that it adds this noise. And this I just don't like. You see, you can't fix this. It's just there. There's just nothing you can do with it. So if you had nothing, I mean, it definitely, it looks okay. But let's look at the next method. Now this is my current solution. I came across this accidentally. These are just plastic sleeves that you can get for putting CDs and CD booklets in together. And what I ended up doing was I just experimented and I started stacking them uh, one at a time. And I noticed that as you did that, the reflection went away. So if I put it behind one, see you got all the prism there normally. And then you get another one, the prism goes away quite a bit. And then you put another one, and now there's nothing. There's like no prism. It's just the consistent gray color. So all you do is just put a couple of those. I usually find 2 to 3. It just depends on the CD. This one happened to be 2, but if you had like like an older CD that was just almost completely unprinted, especially like the CDs from the 80s and stuff, where it's just a little bit of text and then mostly a unprinted disc. Those ones, 3 works really well for that because it completely gets rid of the reflection. So if we just put that down and give that a scan, and then when you're against multiple sheets of, when you got multiple sheets of plastic or whatever it is between the disc and the glass, you really want to put some weight on here because you want to keep that real nice and flat, you know. So this is with the sheets. And let me just make it straight here. Okay. So you see that it's a little bit darker because we were filtering out more light. We had more material between this surface that we were scanning and then the light coming from the scanning element. So it's a little darker, but once you zoom in, you have a little bit, you get these little lines from the plastic. You can clone stamp those out or try to erase them. The big ones, these little ones, when you shrink this down to a smaller resolution, they'll go away. You won't see them. And so even here, just using paint.net, you know, you can get rid of these scratches pretty easily. So I wouldn't worry too much about the scratches. Um, and then with the light, since you took away all that light, you can go back in and add, adjust the levels and kind of try to bring it back in as much as possible. So here's the original one. You know, I mean, the colors, they look fantastic just as it is, but this reflective stuff, it's a little distracting. And again, right here in the middle, I mean, you have like no, it's just black right there. But here, now you've got all the reflective area actually shows up very nicely. And, you know, the color is okay. I mean, I guess if you wanted to fix the saturation a little bit or something, you could, you know, if you wanted to make it a little more vibrant. Actually, I mean, that's pretty dark. Just undo that. So I think that these plastic sleeves actually work really well, and you still save all the detail here on the printing with the halftones. So if we save that, just save it back to disk, and then open that with Affinity here, or if you've got Photoshop. Let's see here, filters, Satva. We'll see how this looks. All right, the D screen finished. Now, this hair, these little hair fibers and stuff, these are the things that get stuck, or they get stuck to this to those plastic sleeves. You can't see them when you're just holding the sleeve. So you gotta, and the fact that you got three of these things stacked on top of each other is three different possibilities to attract these tiny little hairs. So if you're going to go with the hair method, then you really gotta like put them in a baggie or something, like put them in a Ziploc bag to keep them nice and clean when you're not using them. Because otherwise, if you just set them on the desk or table or something while you're not using it, it's going to attract all this um, hair, like this kind of stuff. You don't want that, and you're gonna have to go through and edit out all this stuff. So it's best to clean them off or give them a good blow off with some compressed air before you scan things. Clean all that up. But all in all, I mean that's a really good looking disc scan and very consistent all the way throughout.